The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio. From hot dogs to cool kitties, this is Darkside of the Pooch.
Welcome back to another Darkside of the Pooch, brought to you by Sasquatch Toys and Comics. I was actually down at Toys and Comics Sasquatch last week. By the way, if you need some rats for your snake like I do, he still sells some rats and stuff. You know, he's the dude from Ed's Pet World. But Sasquatch Toys and Comics, he got 300,000 comics down there. Any type of coin, card, anything that has to do with toys, they'll find it, they'll get it. It's amazing. I mean, I was down, I had a list of different things, like stuff I had, like there was these cards that I used to do. They were wacky something or other. I used to have a pocket full of these things, and I was like, do you have any? And sure enough, they had them. He's like, oh yeah, I got those, blah, 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 blah. It's amazing. Check out Sasquatch Toys and Comics. He is Dr. Rab Stewart, Rossburg Animal Hospital. How are you, sir?
There was a thing that was a fad when I was maybe like late junior high. Yeah. I guess probably 7th, 8th grade. Mm-hmm. I want to see if you remember these. They were called Pogs.
Oh yeah. I remember Pogs. Yeah.
So you would stack them up, mm-hmm. and you had these slammers, mm-hmm. and you would slam it on the stack. Yep. And if you flipped them up, yep. they were yours.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I do remember Pogs. I was not a big Pog person. That's still out there, bro. They still got Pogs. They still got, and like movies, they've got like Star Wars, the Star Wars Pogs. Oh, they're worth big time bucks. Yeah, Pogs are still big there.
I loved the slammers. I loved, like, you know, it was so.
Jurassic Park. The big movies have all kinds of Pogs. DC, they all have Pogs.
Yeah, I think it's just like, it depends on when you hit that kind of stuff. Like, I was never into Pokemon. That was after, like, you know, that came after. Like, you know, you got to hit that demographic just right for certain things.
You do. You're right. Speaking of movies, if you saw this story, from Wyoming and Oregon comes a story that's pretty bizarre. Came out last week. Scarlett Johansson, who, by the way, is in his Avenger movies. She's fantastic. I also saw her on the brand new Jurassic Park movie that just came out. She looks fantastic in a white wife beater of the entire movie. She's just wonderful. She's a great actress too. She's fun to look at. She's like a guy. She's the kind of girl. Yeah, she's A-list. She's always the hottest, sexiest girl because she'd just be fun to hang out with. Anyway, she's got a movie called Marriage Story. Have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I don't know that I've heard of it either.
There's a lot of arguing that goes on in a movie called Marriage Story, as you would think. If there's a story called Marriage Story, you're going to think there's probably going to be a lot of arguing going on between the man and the wife. Is this the one
where there's a divorce?
Yes.
It's about a divorce? Okay,
sure
I have heard this.
And let's also throw in AC/DC. Do you have any idea where I'm going here?
No.
Famed for their emotional intelligence, the gray wolf population around greater Yellowstone area has been exploding over the last several years. And now farmers on the outskirts of Greystone are having issues with these gray wolves because they're obviously killing all of their livestock. It is illegal and cannot be shot upon, these gray wolves. They're protected, cannot be fired or poisoned. So according to multiple reports, farmers are playing AC/DC's Hell's Bells and Scarlett Johansson's movie Marriage Story, and it seems to be scaring off the gray wolves. Evidently, it was just one of those situations where they were willing to do anything. It's like Guantanamo, and I guess playing my Barry Manilow over and over and over again for these. It's like worse than solitary confinement. They need the wolves to respond and know that humans are bad. Evidently, there is this thing. I don't know how they found out, but they realized that wolves don't like when they hear humans argue. And so when isn't that wild? And so if they keep playing that same thing over and over and over again, they're realizing that wolves are like, I'm out. And it's like they're so intelligent that whenever they hear some type of argument going on between humans, they don't have anything to do with it. Which also goes for most men who are coming home at 3:00 in the morning drunk off their ass too. By the way, we don't like that sound either. We usually go, take the trash out. I'll be home tomorrow morning. But for gray wolves and also Hell's Bells for AC/DC, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's that particular song. I don't know if it's the bells. I know on Third Down, it's a huge song that they play in college stations and stuff like that. But and I wanted to go one step further with you because we know gray wolves are incredibly intelligent. First of all, talk about the gray wolf a little bit. We know that that basically a dog is a domestic version of a gray wolf, right?
Yeah, I mean that's where the first dogs came from. Back when we were trying to make a wheel and rub two sticks together. Yeah. So and now fast forward how many thousands. Tens of thousands years later.
Can you imagine the first guy to ever bring home a wolf to the family?
Yeah, I bet they had some things to say about that.
After he'd eaten a couple of children first, and he's like, "I promise you, he's going to settle down, honey. Just we'll put him in this crate for just a couple of weeks, and I promise he won't eat any more of our children."
Well, we got to teach him not to pee in the cave. Let's teach him not to pee in the cave. He's got to be cave broken.
Cave broken, yes.
And now we have bred that gray wolf into a pug.
Oh, it would take it. I mean, how many years would you think is that a 100-year deal? Is that a 50-year deal? A 10-year deal? I mean, how long would it take? I mean, if we just took a gray wolf right now, a gray wolf pup. And because you wouldn't get maybe you would get a gray wolf pup. I guess if you're going to start with a gray wolf pup, right? You don't want to start with like an adult. But the kid probably came home and thought, "Hey, look, Dad, I caught this thing. We can eat it later on tonight for dinner." And he's probably holding it by its leg or something. And it's a wolf pup that got away. They got it abandoned or something like that. And next thing you know, it's turned into the first domestic dog.
But I think that probably at somewhere along the way, people got smart enough where they could say, "Hey, look, this could be useful to us. Like maybe this could pull a sled, or maybe this could keep us safe. Maybe it could catch a rabbit for us.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started.
Or we could keep it until we get hungry.
Yeah, somewhere along the way, Mr. Caveman got smart enough. But you know who? It was probably Cave Woman. Yeah. Let's be honest, it wasn't a caveman. The woman probably said, "Hey, look, if we can somehow get us a wolf, then we may not have to hunt for our dinner as much."
That's an excellent idea. Now, let me ask you this, and maybe you know the answer. What domesticated first, the cat or the dog?
I think the cat.
We domesticated the cats first. So, okay. So you're bringing home a saber-toothed tiger to the family. Try pulling that one over on the wife. "Hey, look what I found on the front yard. I thought maybe it's a little cub thing and it's going to grow into a giant cat, but I figured it'd be good around the house, around the cave."
I think that, I don't know for sure, but maybe I'll do some research. I am going to go out on a limb and say the cat was domesticated first. And the only reason I say that is because the Egyptians were so into cats.
Well, let's find out right now. When were cats domesticated? Cats were domesticated about 12,000 years ago.
All right. 12,000.
When were dogs domesticated? Dogs were domesticated between 14 and 36,000 years ago. So the dogs were domesticated
first.
Yeah, they were first by a long shot, by a couple thousand years. Interesting. No wonder. That makes that kind of. I was going to say it makes sense, but really it doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all.
Know. What the heck do I know? I wasn't around.
So let me ask you this: how do our pets, our domesticated doggies and kitties, how do they respond to verbal altercations between their owners? And I will pose this question. I remember the first Havanese. Remember, I had the Havanese that just passed away this past summer. I guess it's been almost a year ago. The first time I set eyes on that dog, it heard my voice and peed all over itself. And I'm like, okay, the first thing it tells me is it doesn't like the man's voice. And I was scaring it. It wouldn't let me get near it for the first 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, it took everything I could to get that animal even remote. I mean, I'd sit next to it. It would just shake just because of my voice. So obviously it'd been beaten by something with a voice, or it had some type of recall with my voice or a man's voice, and it did not like it. What are animals like when they hear stuff that they're not used to? How do they normally behave?
They're pretty fearful. I mean, I've never had a dog that just loves to hear humans argue.
Yeah.
And also like loud noises with my kids. My dog's out. Yeah. He goes upstairs, finds a bedroom, finds somewhere to go. our kids are running around causing a bunch, raising Cain all day long. And my dog can't stand it. And dogs just in general, I mean, every now and then you'll find one that just is not fazed by really anything.
Yeah.
But most dogs don't like loud noises. They don't like a lot of commotion. So.
Yeah, and again, if your dog doesn't mind the commotion, then you probably got a pretty banged up household. I mean, I remember that neighbor that lived down the street, and their parents were always arguing. Like every time you walked in the door, it's just what they did. They just always yelled at each other.
Oh yeah, but I think that's a good. So if our animals don't like people arguing, and if domesticated and wild animals don't like people arguing, you think about what that does to your kids.
Yeah, no doubt.
And living in a household where the parents are always arguing. And man, listen, I would love to say that my wife and I never argue. And if we do argue, the kids are never around.
Yeah. They're smart.
But that's not where I live, unfortunately. Yeah. So more power to you if that's where, any of our listeners live. Great job.
There you go. 208-0301, 208-0301. Call them for whatever you need. Rossbridge Animal Hospital. They do fantastic work. I was in your parking lot yesterday walking my Pooch. I was going to stop by and see you again, but I was hot. And so we walked back. Great little walking area over there too. I'm surprised you don't have more people because you got the Rossbridge Animal Hospital right there at the end of that walking path. I'm surprised I don't see more people actually walking their dogs up and down that trail because it's a great trail. Outside the couple of teenagers who like to get a golf cart and go flying up and down that road. I stopped one yesterday. Hey, slow down. It's a walking path here. It's like, I don't live here, but slow down. I don't even know who you are. You're going to just, they want to say like that. But boy, I mean, the dogs are freaking out when I was screaming. You should have seen them. You should have cowered down, stuff like that. There's another story out of the BBC. I didn't realize this. In the BBC, in Parliament, if you have something that you want Parliament to discuss, you must get 10,000 signatures. And if you get 10,000 signatures, they will actually respond to it. If you get 100,000 signatures, they will actually debate it, which means it can become law. So evidently, this woman has a cat. And it's in her front yard, and this dog comes flying in, and this dog takes this cat and dismantles the cat. Police officers show up. The cat ends up dying. And they're like, okay, we're good here. And they leave. And she's like, whoa. What about this dog here? And it's like, yeah, we don't have any laws about, dogs. And it's just, we don't have a leash law over here. I don't know if that's just what the BBC is or whether it's like that in Britain or UK or whatever. But evidently there's nothing they could do. And so she has gotten over 100,000 petitions now, if you will, for people that have dogs that kill their family pets. They should be charged with something, which I think we have here in the United States. I didn't realize that this is something that's not lawable, if you will, in the BBC. Were you aware of that? Evidently, if you have a dog and just kills a cat, I don't know.
People in Great Britain, they have all, they probably look at us and think, well, why don't you have laws against this?
Yeah, then, she had that community protection notices can be issued under the Antisocial Behavior, Criminal and Policing Act of 2014. There's a charity called Cats Protection that is now being seen. The campaigns caught the attention of that. Madison Rogers from the organization said, unfortunately, we do hear that people get told by the police there's no crime and there's nothing they can do if a cat is killed by a dog, even if it's not in its own yard.
It seems like that we just have a lot of laziness going on over there. Yeah. And it probably, it probably dates back close to 250 years ago, when they just thought that we were just going to keep taking their BS. And we were like, no, we're not. And so they didn't learn their lesson. They're still lazy. The cops still don't want to do anything. Yeah. You have to get 100,000 people to even get Parliament to do anything. 100,000 signatures? I mean, but okay, we're not going to talk about your thing unless you get 100,000 people to sign a piece of paper. Well, that's a lot of people. You know how many signatures we got 250 years ago? Yeah, we got enough.
Yeah, we got enough. It was more than 100,000 too. Thank you very much. And then we ended up killing about 250,000 of our own people just because we wanted to stay a country. That's how much we do. We kill each other because we love our country so much. Yeah. Any interesting stories going on there at the Rossbridge Animal Hospital before I get into a couple emails here?
Do you remember last week?
Yeah, you were putting down a kitty cat last week.
Yeah, but we talked about did we talk about the dog that had super low white blood cell count?
Yeah, you did, but we didn't talk about it in depth and what exactly was going on with that animal.
So we tested it for a lot of infectious diseases, and our test came back negative.
Okay.
And then a couple days into the treatment, we monitor them, of course, every day. We're looking at them, doing physicals on them, rechecking CBCs. And then a couple days later, the CBC looked really a lot better. White blood cell count was coming up, and like the white blood cells that were super low and bottoming out, they were coming back up. And then the white blood cells that were really high and too high, they were coming down.
Okay.
And dogs are doing great now. And so we don't really know what happened. But sometimes in veterinary medicine, you don't know what happened. We just know that the white blood cells were, really wonky. And so we treat with antibiotics and other symptomatic treatment to get them eating and controlling nausea. And I mean, that dog, for whatever reason, just had an overwhelming infection from something that, we couldn't find. But now the dog's doing fine.
That's interesting. And I don't think people realize that probably happens more times than not.
So many times in animals, we're like, look,
yeah, you just don't know.
This is what the diagnostics tell us to do.
Mm-hmm.
If we send off our test to try to get a definitive answer and we don't get it, well, we don't know what happened, but we got it better.
I was at, again, Rossbridge a couple days ago, and my Pooch was in that creek down there, and alongside the other side, I see this little thing slither here. As a matter of fact, I'll show it to you. It was kind of cool. I don't know if you can see that there, but.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. A little water moccasin coming across the creek. And of course, my dog was in that creek, and I was like, "Oh boy, come on over here." What do you think would have happened if because he didn't care. I mean, I don't think that anything would have happened. I know some people probably just would have let it go, but I wasn't going to take the chance of him getting bitten by the snake, because if it's in the water, it's in its own thing. But what would have happened there?
If the snake would have bitten?
Yeah.
Well, if it had, venom to inject,
yeah,
because sometimes it'll be a dry bite and it won't be so bad. But if there's venom in there, then it's going to cause necrosis of the tissue, so death of the tissue that it bites. If it's really, really bad, it can affect their ability to clot their blood. And if it's really, really bad, then they can die from that. But most of the time, it just creates a lot of tissue damage and death at the site of the bite. And it can be a small area, or it could grow to a pretty large area.
Yeah. I know we've had this discussion. We'll probably have it again. Well, certainly around springtime, because when it starts getting warm, snakes like to come out and sunbathe and like to do this thing. So you see a lot more snakes. That's the first time I've seen a water moccasin, and that was really cool to see that. But I was like,
I had a huge one in my yard, not a water moccasin. It was the one that I had in my yard was non-venomous. But I mean, the snake that was in my yard was close to 5 feet long.
Wow,
it was a monster.
That's a big snake.
I chased it into the neighbor's yard. Get out of here.
Now, if it's
I have a hard time killing them. Like, I really do.
No, you should. I mean, if it's a black snake, they're good because they kill poisonous snakes.
Yeah, I just chased it into Miss Carol's yard.
There you go. Yeah. And you know what? If it wants to come back over in your yard, it'll come back over.
Well,
it probably will. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. We got time to do. Let's do one. We're going to do a little shorter show today. Susie wants to know: can dogs get mosquito bites?
Oh yeah. So that's how dogs get heartworms.
Is there something you can put on a dog so it doesn't? Can you use off or something like that on a dog, or no?
Yeah, you can. Now, I don't know how well it's going to work. I've never done that personally. I don't know if there's anything in those type of repellents that can be harmful to the dog. So I would be careful about doing that. But if you give your dog heartworm prevention monthly, then you can still have mosquitoes bite your dog, but they won't get the heartworm larva from the mosquito bite if they are on heartworm prevention.
Gotcha.
And I got curious one day and I was thinking, well, if dogs get heartworms, why don't people? Because we get bit by the same mosquitoes.
Good question.
It's the larvae are in the mosquito mouth parts. And we actually do, although it's super rare, but there are documented cases of heartworms in people.
How about that?
Yeah. And I don't know, I guess either the article didn't say, or I didn't keep digging as to why it's so much harder for humans to get heartworms, even though it does happen. I guess it has something to do with just the way the larva, once they're injected, maybe they just can't live in our bodies. I don't know. But yeah, that's mosquitoes and dogs.
Look at you. You're doing a little extra stuff there. I love that. Darkside the Pooch, always brought to you by the fine folks at Sasquatch Toys and Comics. They do wonderful work down there. They have over 300,000 comics. Anything you're looking for. I know Legend was looking for like an Evel Knievel thing. He fought. Anything you want to find in a toy, particularly around the holidays, is always really a hot spot. And this place is unbelievable. If you get a chance, if you're just like in a toy freak, or you just want to go back and remember like I said, I had some of these old, I want to call them garbage cards or garbage patch cards.
Pail kids.
It wasn't garbage pail kids, but I remember, and I had a stack of these, and there were cards on one side and stickers on the other.
It's garbage pail kids, I swear.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't kids. It wasn't kids. It was products. But it was their own spin on products. So like it'd be like Bounty towels, but it'd be like Bounty something or other, and it'd have a picture of the Bounty towels with a weird head given. I don't know. I'll find it and I'll show it to you.
So it wasn't this?
No, it was not that. No.
All right.
It was not that. But it was a whole takeoff on different types of products. I'll find out what it is. But I had a big stack of them, man. And I would walk around with a stack of these cards and I had a rubber band, and I could not find these things to save my life. And I had put them inside of a jacket from one season to the next. And so you wear your jacket for wintertime and you take it off. And so I didn't see it for 6 months, and I never forget put that jacket back on. I was like, oh, no way. And then of course, by then I was like old enough to think, what the hell was I thinking, doing these things? And I think I threw them away. But they've got those down there. So if you're looking for stuff, pogs, whatever you want to do, you can find that stuff out. Check them out. Tell people how they can get in touch with you, man.
Our phone number is 208-0301. You can find us, you can email us, rossbridgeanimalhospital@gmail.com, and we're also on Facebook.
Thank you, my friend. We'll talk next week.
Okay, bud.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.